The steady flow of people from all around the world continues to be settled in Amsterdam. This creates a sense of a transcultural city. Transcultural cities uses a framework of transcultural placemaking, cross-disciplinary inquiry, and transitional focus to examine a collection of case studies around the world, presented by a multidisciplinary group of scholars and activists in architecture, urban planning, urban studies, art, environmental psychology, geography, political science, and social work. With that said, there are many different ways of people with different backgrounds representing themselves in Amsterdam. But apart from these academic viewpoints, I believe that everyone's first impression of a certain culture in a city like this comes through its food. To prove that, I designed a word association game with countries. I have chosen 5 known countries that people may have surely heard of or come across by perhaps visiting them or at least having eaten their food before. And then I ask a couple of strangers to give me 3 words that they think the first of when hearing the name of the country. And only rarely would anyone leave out its typical food or beverage. Food is, after all, the one thing that connects different cultures that wouldn't normally interact with each other. Just the fact that you can go to a restaurant in Amsterdam and choose from Mexican to Japanese cuisine and almost everything in between, that is one of the products of globalization. Now, don't get me wrong, foreign food makes people at least think or feel like that they are encountering some culture, but many times the experience itself is less than authentic. There is a great discourse between what is authentic and what is appropriated. In terms what authenticity means and what are we talking about according to its definitions, we can say that authentic foreign restaurants should offer us meals made of the same ingredients and prepared by the same procedures as they would be in the country of their origin. Appropriation would then represent a change in those ideas due to the new surroundings that they have to adapt to. In a worst scenario, the restaurant could be run by people who are not members of the certain culture or they are not familiar with it at all. In today's world, appropriation has a more or less negative connotation. In this matter, I would like to counter that idea by saying, how else can we create something new today, if not by changing something that already exists? So let's take a look at a couple of examples. The fusion Asian kitchens combine meals from different Asian countries, and while a lot of Europeans can't really recognize the differences between food from different Asian countries, representatives of these countries can, and it can be a source of great offense to them. Some of the venues that aim towards authenticity, like Italian, can afford to import domestic ingredients, use and distribute them, but others struggle to find them and they have to resort to using alternatives. The proximity plays a big role in this because of supply chains, customs, etc. As far as decoration of the venues goes, Asian, especially Japanese restaurants in Amsterdam seem to be a bit overdone. You can see all the displays of traditional items, blossoms all around, and yes, they are fake. But Japanese venues in their habitat are going for more of a simple, blend, but still aesthetic concept of decoration. While, on the other hand, Asian countries in Europe are taking pride in this sort of extravagant image because they really aim to show you the culture and its characteristics. Now, the polar opposite could be said about Surinamese restaurants, which have a great standing in Amsterdam as the community is quite vast. Most of them do not really have a care for how their venues look and whether are they offering the most traditional meals. That also doesn't seem to be their priority. World of food. From outside, a cheap, repurposed warehouse. From inside, a variety of foreign cuisines from different countries around the world. The seats and the tables are rarely clean, the construction is a bit scuffed, and there's still much space waiting to be used. The whole place looks kind of half-built and in development, yet it resonates with a friendly atmosphere created by the people who run it. The exterior offers space for barbecue, parties, and it also serves as a sort of congregation point for many of the locals in the night hours. After all, it is one of the few places in this area that provides opening times in those hours. Most of these observations were collected during my shifts working for Deliveroo. Having seen different establishments running on similar ideas, certain patterns began to emerge. I have also been able to acquire some topological data on where biggest restaurant inactivity are in Amsterdam lies, since nowadays people go to restaurants as much as they order from them. My favorite area would probably be the Babe, since it consists of a wide diverse selection of privately owned establishments and is really active. I believe the map can also serve as a representation of prosperity and wealth of certain neighborhoods because we can assume that the higher activity in orders of a certain area is, the wealthier the area is. Not only have I been able to see many restaurants, but I even found out that there are some hidden kitchen in warehouse areas that rely on delivery companies only. There is a whole lot more to explore, such as how are the Dutch restaurants adopting meals from different countries, or what's the background of those same looking pizza, steak, grill restaurants roaming the center. It is important to realize that restaurants also create a sort of subconsciousness of a city and drastically change the looks of it in every street. The question then stands on whether this is something that should be regulated by the municipality and in what way. But in my opinion, in case of Amsterdam, that ship has sailed.